right in the middle. So a few other examples I'll show you. I opened this photo, I chose this area to blow apart, and I chose the right direction, got that. This next one, there's the base image, I brushed this area here, again chose the right action and got that. This one, brush there, I chose the down direction and got that, and I just extended the canvas down so you can see the effect taper all the way off down here. This one here, just brushed over the top, chose the up direction and got this. This one here, brushed there, chose the middle direction and got that. This guy here, brush there. This example here, I changed it, I'll go back to this one. So this one's 300 pixels per inch, so if I go back into here, that's 300, and you can see the spread there. Now I changed it to 72, and it's coming in a lot closer. Okay, so if you want to adjust the spread of all these elements, so just play around with this number here. And one thing to notice, if I just change this to 300, you notice that the width and the height have dramatically increased. So what I like to do, I'll change it back to 72, just select this number, go copy, and if you change this to 300, select that again, go paste. So we've still got the same pixel dimensions, but we've changed the resolution. Okay, so play around with that. Feel that the elements are too far apart, just change this back to 72 or 120, 150, something like that. Okay, let's close that down and that down. These back up. Okay, so what we need to do first is create a new layer. So go layer, new layer, and it needs to be called brush. All lowercase, anything uppercase in the action won't work. And all we need to do with the brush layer selected, hit B on the keyboard, get your brush out, select a soft brush, use any colour, doesn't really matter. And what you want to do is brush over the areas you want to break apart. So keep in mind that the direction that you want the part to shoot off into. So for this example, we're going to shoot everything off to the right. So I want to just brush this area here. Here. So what you need to remember, the area that you brush, is that all the parts are going to be generated from within the area that you've brushed. So think about colour. So if I brush here, we're going to have some white dots. We're going to have some dark blue dots here. You might want to do a little bit up here for a different colour. Down through here. Blow off his feet here. Here. Might want to do his hand a bit. And just experiment with different ways of brushing, like you might want to shrink down. If you use the square brackets when you got your brush out, you're going to quickly adjust the size of the brush, like I'm doing that. So you can go a bit smaller and then do some plays like that, just play around different brushing methods. Okay, so let's run with that. Now what I want to do next, I want to demonstrate this a bit better. I want to extend my canvas out to the right some more. So I'm just going to go image, canvas size, and I'm going to adjust the anchor, so I want it to go out to the right. The width, I'm going to change the pixels. Let's add about 2000 pixels. Okay. Now I'm just going to do a quick hack here, doing that background. I'm just going to select my background layer, hit M on the keyboard, go to the marking tool out, and I'm going to select that area, Control T to scale it. Just going to drag that out to the right. So not the best job, but it'll do. So that's all we need to do. So now we need to load up the actions. So go to Window, Actions, panel will pop up here, go to this top icon, go to Load Actions, hit Sandstorm, the ATM, okay here, scroll open the folder, and then here we have our directions. all you need to do then is choose a direction, which is right, and click play. So this action runs for around 3 to 4 minutes. So just click play and then come back to Photoshop and you'll have your result in a few minutes time. So I'm just going to fast forward this video, get to the result, and then I'm going to go through all the layers and talk about what they do and how we can customize it. Okay? So here we have the result, and what we're going to do now is firstly minimize the actions panel and go into our layer panel here. Now the very first thing you want to do within the layer panel is minimize all these folders, collapse all these folders. So the quick way to do that is with the layer, the folder that's already selected, Sandstorm, hover over to this arrow on a PC here. Now on a PC, hold down Control Alt Command Option on the Mac and click that arrow, and it collapses all those folders, so everything's netted right up. Okay, so let's go now from the top. And one thing to note about just how much density you brush onto your photo, that'll dictate how dense all the particles are. So for example, if I brushed in all of his arm here, this area up the top here would be much more dense, but because I've only brushed a thin line along here, it's just extracting fewer particles. So keep that in mind. If I brushed in his torso completely, or his chest, through the middle here would be very thick, full of particles. Okay, so just experiment with brushing because you'll get a different result every time. Okay, so this layer here is to add some sharpening to your image. So if you want to just boost the sharpening, click that one on. This folder here, color. So go inside here, we have a few different options here. These top 4 are to adjust just some smaller details. So if you just double click on the overall saturation, you can play around with the saturation slider here, adjust that. Okay, by default it's up a little higher. Color tints, you double click on this one and you can play around with this handle here and scroll down through these options here to add a bit of tint to your design. This layer here, brightness, you can double click on this one and play around with these handles here to adjust the overall brightness. So for this one I might just bring it up a fraction. Contrast, change opacity. So by default this layer, its opacity is 10%, so if you just click and hold on this word opacity and drag to the left and right, you can adjust the amount of contrast. So it's quite sensitive, so if you might only need a little bit. So for this one I might just leave there about 20%. So these folders here are the color options. So by default color option 1 is turned on. So what you can do is just go down the line here and flick some of these on, and you'll get different color variations. What you can also do is mix them together. So for example, color option 11 here, if I select that and change the opacity to 40%, I can just apply a little bit of that color. Then I could go up the top here and grab this one, apply a little bit of that, so you can blend multiple color options together to build your own look. Okay, so that's the color folder. So here's our main folder here, Sandstorm. Turn that one off. You see that houses all of our effects. Let's go inside here and have a few different folders here which I'll talk about. So this top one here is our large blurred particles. So if I flick this one on and off, you can see that they're the ones that are shooting right up towards us, so a bit more blurred. And what you do is go inside here and move them around manually as you want. So like that. And sometimes what I like to do is, if you want them to appear a bit bigger, zoom right out. This, Control T to scale, and I might just, drag this way up. And you can see them much bigger there. Hit enter. And I'll zoom back in here. So you can see those big particles there. So you can mess around with that. I'll just undo that. Okay, and of course if you want more you can duplicate them, so you can just hit Control T copy, or you can select the entire folder and hit Ctrl J to either boost the contrast, brightness of all the particles, or just create a lot more that you can then move around. So on each folder, you'll notice that there's a white box here. That's the folder mask. So you can have control over where all these particles appear, or if you want to erase some. So for example, if I grab a black brush and I select that box there, I can brush away any large particles that I don't want. So for example, here over by his hand, if I brush there, I can remove those particles. Say I didn't want any of these, I can just brush them away, just like that. And for example, if I want to bring them back, I just grab a white brush and I can just brush them back in. So you can have control over, you have a lot of control here over where the particles appear and where you don't want them to appear. Okay, so moving on down, we have this one here called Add More Density. If I turn this one on and off, you can see that it really just bulkens out the effect. But what I like to do, excuse me, what I like to do is grab this layer and just experiment with just moving it around. If I move this one down, you can see a bit more. It has some unique forms and unique waveforms, so you can really just play around with moving this in different spots. You'll generate some different patterns. If you want to appear a lot more dense, hit Ctrl J again, duplicate it, and it's really kicking it right out. If you want it, say you duplicate the layer but you don't want it that dense, again, just play around with opacity and find a good medium, something like that. Okay, again you've got your mask, so say if you wanted it to, maybe you don't want it to appear as dense over in this section, I'll grab a black brush and I'll just brush that away. On this one here as well, hit there, and you can see it taper off there, but I actually prefer it a bit more dense like that. So if you want to temporarily hide the mask like I did then, hold down Shift, click in there, and it just disables it temporarily. Alright, this one here, Cloud Formation. If I turn this folder on and off, you can see that it adds some random cloud effects, gives it much more dense feeling in certain areas, so that's a good one just to flick on and off to see if you want it. If you go inside, you have a few layers here which you can move around. They're just a bunch of subtle effects that help build up the overall effect, so moving these layers around, you won't that one there very soon, but yeah, you can mess around with those, just like that. Base particles. Now, if I turn this one on and off, you can't really see much of an effect there. You can see some particles there. What I like to do is just experiment with moving this entire folder up to the top here, so you can see particles appear much sharper on top of all those cloud effects, but you might not want it that way, so you can just move it around. But if you go inside here, you have 3 folders, small, medium and large particles. These are all the individual particles that make up the entire piece. I'll turn this one on. So these are, like I said, the base particles. So you can actually you can move around these into different areas if you want. You can duplicate them if you want to create more particles. So yeah, a lot of control there. So I'll turn it all back on. Done cloud formation. I didn't mind that at the top, I'll leave that at the top there. Just looks good through here with those sharp little particles. Particle groups, now this is a big one, so I'll turn the one on and off. You can firstly see that if you turn it off, we have a different type of look hidden underneath here. So, and that's formed from the Add More Density layers. You can see that there. And the cloud formation. So you can see that just by turning off different layers, you can build different type of effects. So you don't have to have it with everything turned on and like a lot of particles everywhere. So that's just the default result. So playing around with that, I'll turn off the layers and folders. So inside the particle groups here, we have, what am I doing? particle groups. So these are just groups of particles that you can manually move around wherever you want. There's a lot of them here. So, yep, mess around with those. Now, this bottom one here, motion waves, this is generated from the area that you brush. So wherever you brush, it's going to create this wavy effect. And that just helps connect your photos to all the particles around. So I turn off the motion waves. You can see that it hasn't really connected that well to the particles. Like that, it just sort of floats off his body. But if you turn this one on, it helps sort of with the entire flow as a result. If you go inside here, you can actually control just how many of these you want. So you can turn these ones on one by one. Or you could also, move them out to the right further. And say for example, if you run the action and there's some motion waves that, appear in a spot that you don't want, again just use the folder mask again to brush away anything you don't want. So if you run the action and there's some strange movement out there before, but I don't want them, so I can just erase that. There's a little blurry spot here just from the motion waves, and just get rid of that. Work on really fine tuning. Use a soft brush when you're brushing into these masks, so it's a lot more natural, just like that. So on his foot here, if I didn't want this little cloud, I can just get rid of that. I'll also put a link down in the description of this video to a set of 200 photo looks that I've created, so you can also download that and apply some of those colours. Okay.